What if every night, your soul embarks on a journey through 3 distinct realms that most people never remember? What if the hours you spend sleeping are not just rest, but a sacred pilgrimage your consciousness makes to worlds beyond this physical reality? Tonight, when you close your eyes, you will not simply drift into darkness. You will travel. You will visit places your waking mind cannot imagine. And by the end of this message, you will understand exactly where your soul goes when your body lies still. There was a man named Edgar Cayce. History remembers him as the sleeping prophet. For over 40 years he would lie down, enter a deep trance, and speak truths that came from somewhere beyond ordinary human knowledge. He gave more than 14,000 readings during his lifetime. In those readings he described things that no one had taught him. He spoke of past lives, of healing remedies that worked when doctors had given up, and of spiritual truths that changed how people understood their existence. But among all his revelations, one stands out as perhaps the most mysterious and most important. Edgar Cayce discovered that sleep is not what we think it is. Sleep is not simply the body resting. It is a structured spiritual journey. Every single night, your soul follows a secret map through 3 specific dimensions. Most people never remember these journeys, but your soul remembers. And tonight, everything changes, because now you will know the truth. These are not random dreams. These are not meaningless images floating through your sleeping mind. What Cayce revealed is that your consciousness follows a precise path each night, visiting 3 distinct spiritual realms. Each realm has its own purpose. Each one serves your soul's evolution. And whether you remember these journeys or not, they are happening. They have always been happening. From the moment you were born until the moment you take your last breath, your soul has been traveling while your body sleeps. Let me show you the map. Let me reveal the 3 dimensions your soul visits every single night. The first dimension is called the Borderland. Cayce described it as the twilight realm, the space between the physical world and the deeper spiritual dimensions. Imagine a place where everything feels hazy, like thick mist hanging in the air just before dawn. The light is soft and gray. Shapes move in the distance, but you cannot quite see them clearly. This is where your soul goes first, in those early moments after you fall asleep. The Borderland exists closest to physical reality. It is the transition zone. Think of it as the doorway your soul must pass through to reach the deeper realms beyond in the Borderland. Something very important happens. Your soul begins to separate gently from your physical body. Not violently, not suddenly, but like 2 dancers slowly stepping apart after holding each other close. Your consciousness loosens its grip on flesh and bone and physical sensation. And in this twilight space, your soul does sacred work. It reviews the day that just ended. Every conversation you had, every emotion you felt, every moment of joy or pain or confusion or peace. Your soul examines these experiences, not to judge them, but to understand them, to process them, to learn from them. The Borderland is also where something beautiful can happen. Loved ones who have recently died, those who have crossed over, but have not yet fully transitioned to higher realms, sometimes wait in this misty space. They come to comfort you, to let you know they are okay, to send you messages your sleeping mind might remember as strange dreams about them. Have you ever dreamed of someone who passed away, and in the dream they seemed peaceful and they told you not to worry? That was not just a dream. That was a real encounter in the Borderland. Your soul met theirs in that twilight place between worlds, but the Borderland is not always gentle. This is also the dimension where your unresolved emotions and anxieties surface. The fears you pushed down during the day, the anger you did not express, the sadness you ignored because you had to keep moving forward. All of these emotions float up in the Borderland like shadows rising from deep water. And they create what we call anxiety dreams. Those dreams where you are running but cannot move fast enough. where you are trying to speak but no sound comes out, where you are lost and cannot find your way home. These are not meaningless. These are your soul's way of showing you what needs healing, what needs attention, what you are carrying that you must release. You have been to the Borderland many times, even if you do not remember. There are signs that mark your passage through this first dimension. Have you ever been drifting off to sleep and suddenly felt like you were falling? That jolt that snaps you awake with your heart pounding. That is the sensation of your soul beginning to separate from your body in the Borderland. Have you ever seen shadowy figures in your room just as you were falling asleep? Shapes that moved at the edge of your vision? Those are beings in the Borderland, visible for just a moment as your consciousness shifts between worlds. Have you ever experienced that strange state where you are not quite asleep, but not quite awake, where you hear sounds or voices that are not physically there? That is called the hypnagogic state, and it is the doorway into the Borderland. According to Cayce's readings, you spend the first 30 to 90 minutes of sleep in this dimension. Your soul lingers here, doing its work of review and release and encounter. But the Borderland is only the beginning. It is the first stop on a much longer journey. Because once your soul has completed its work in the twilight realm, it moves deeper. It travels to a place of infinite knowledge and ancient memory. It enters the second dimension. The second dimension is called the Akashic plane. Cayce often referred to it as the Hall of Records. Imagine a temple made of crystalline light, stretching endlessly in all directions. Its walls are not solid, but seem to shimmer and pulse with living energy. Inside this temple, every piece of information that has ever existed is stored. Every thought ever thought. Every action ever taken. Every life ever lived. This is the universal library of existence itself. And every night, during your deep sleep cycles, your soul travels here. The Akashic plane is not a physical place. Though Cayce described it in physical terms so our human minds could grasp what he was seeing. It exists on a higher vibrational level, beyond matter and time as we understand them. In this dimension, past, present, and future blend together. Everything that was, everything that is, and everything that could be exists simultaneously in an eternal now. When your soul enters the Akashic plane, it does so with purpose. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are there to learn, to remember, to access information your waking mind cannot reach during the day. One of the most profound things that happens in the Akashic plane is that your soul reviews its past incarnations. You have lived before. Not just this life, but many lives across many ages. Each life taught you different lessons. Each life added to your soul's growth. In the Akashic plane, you can access the memories and wisdom from those previous lifetimes. You might remember being a healer in ancient Egypt, a teacher in medieval Europe, a parent who lost children to war, a person who showed great courage or made terrible mistakes. These memories are not shown to you to make you proud or ashamed. They are shown to you so you understand the patterns your soul is working through. The lessons you are still learning, your soul also reviews, something called soul contracts while in the Akashic plane. Before you were born into this current life, your soul made agreements. You chose certain experiences. You chose certain challenges. You chose to meet certain people who would help you grow or test you or love you. These contracts are not punishments. They are opportunities. And in the Akashic plane, your soul reads these contracts again. It checks your progress. It reminds you of what you came here to do. Sometimes you wake up with a sudden clarity about your life purpose, about why certain things keep happening to you, about what you are supposed to do next. That clarity came from the Akashic plane. Your soul brought back a piece of information from the Hall of Records, and it filtered into your waking consciousness. Something else extraordinary happens in this dimension. You meet with spiritual teachers and your higher self. Your higher self is the part of your soul that exists beyond this physical incarnation, the part that knows everything, that sees the big picture, that loves you unconditionally. In the Akashic plane, your everyday consciousness reconnects with your higher self. Imagine a student meeting with a wise teacher every single night. The teacher does not force lessons on the student. The teacher simply offers guidance, gently showing the path forward. That is what your higher self does when you visit the Akashic plane. It reminds you who you truly are beneath all the fear and pain and confusion of human life. Creative inspiration comes from the Akashic plane as well. Artists, writers, musicians, scientists, inventors, so many of them report that their greatest ideas came to them in dreams, or in those early morning hours just after waking. This is because their souls access the infinite information stored in the Hall of Records. The solutions were already there. The songs were already written. The paintings were already seen. The soul simply downloaded the information and brought it back to the waking mind. If you have ever gone to sleep struggling with a problem and woken up knowing the answer, your soul visited the Akashic plane and retrieved what you needed. There are signs that mark your time in this second dimension. Do you ever experience déjà vu, that strange feeling that you have lived this exact moment before? That is a memory leaking through from the Akashic plane, where your soul saw this moment in its future timeline. Do you have dreams that feel more real than regular dreams? Dreams where you are in vast libraries or temples or classrooms, where beings of light teach you things you cannot quite remember when you wake. Those are not symbolic dreams. Those are actual memories of your time in the Hall of Records. Do you wake up with sudden knowing, with ideas that seem to come from nowhere, with feelings of deep peace about your life path? Your soul has been studying in the Akashic plane. The time your soul spends in this dimension corresponds to your deep sleep cycles, particularly the REM periods when your brain activity increases and your eyes move rapidly beneath your closed lids. Scientists say this is when your brain processes memories and consolidates learning. And they are partially correct. But what they cannot measure with their instruments is that your soul is not just processing the memories of this life. It is processing the memories of all your lives. It is learning not just what happened yesterday, but what happened across centuries. But the Akashic plane, as magnificent as it is still not the final destination. Your soul has one more journey to make each night, one more dimension to visit. And this third dimension is the most sacred, the most healing, the most transformative of all. When your soul has finished its work in the Hall of Records, it rises higher still. It travels to the realm that Cayce called the celestial realm, the higher spheres, the dimension of pure divine consciousness. The third dimension is beyond anything human language can fully describe. Edgar Cayce struggled to put into words what he witnessed when he explored the celestial realm in his trance states. He spoke of brilliant light that did not hurt to look at. He described sacred geometry, patterns of energy and form that seemed to hold the structure of all creation. He felt unconditional love so powerful that it dissolved all fear, all pain, all separation. This is the highest vibrational dimension your soul can reach during sleep. This is the realm where your consciousness remembers it is divine. In the celestial realm, your soul reunites with its source. Some call this source God. Some call it the universe. Some call it divine consciousness or the all. The name does not matter. What matters is the experience. Imagine a drop of water returning to the ocean. For a brief time, the drop is not separate anymore. It remembers it is part of something infinite. That is what happens to your soul in the celestial realm. All the illusions of separation fall away. You are not just a person with problems and fears and limitations. You are a divine being of light, eternal and loved beyond measure. This dimension is where your soul recharges its spiritual energy and life force. Living in the physical world is exhausting for the soul. Every day, you encounter negativity, stress, fear, pain, conflict. Your energy gets drained. Your light dims. But every night, when your soul reaches the celestial realm, it is restored. Think of it like plugging in a device whose battery has run down. The divine energy flows into your soul, filling you back up, healing the damage, preparing you for another day in the physical world. Without these nightly visits to the celestial realm, your soul would eventually burn out. Your body would break down. Your spirit would lose hope. Sleep is not just physical rest. It is spiritual survival. In the higher spheres, your soul communes with angelic beings and ascended masters. These are not human souls still working through incarnations. These are beings of pure light who have completed their journey through physical reality. They exist now only to serve, to guide, to love. When your soul enters the celestial realm, you are welcomed by these beings. They surround you with healing energy. They offer wisdom and encouragement. They help you see your life from a higher perspective, where everything makes sense, where even suffering has meaning. You do not usually remember these encounters consciously, but your soul remembers. And that memory affects how you feel when you wake. Have you ever woken up feeling inexplicably peaceful, even though your life circumstances are difficult? Your soul met with the angels in the night. The celestial realm is also where your soul receives what Cayce called soul upgrades and energetic healing. Your consciousness is constantly evolving, growing, expanding. But this growth does not happen randomly. It happens in the celestial realm during your deepest sleep. Energy blockages are cleared. Karmic patterns are released. Old wounds from this life and past lives are healed. Your vibrational frequency is raised, preparing you for the next level of your spiritual journey. You might wake up one morning and realize you no longer feel angry about something that tormented you for years. You might suddenly find forgiveness easy when it used to be impossible. You might notice your intuition has become sharper, your compassion deeper, your fear less controlling. These are the results of soul upgrades you received while sleeping in the celestial realm. There are signs that you have been to this third dimension. If you wake up feeling profoundly peaceful for no logical reason, your soul has been in the higher spheres. If you have mystical dreams filled with light, sacred symbols, or divine beings, you are remembering fragments of your time in the celestial realm. If you sense a loving presence watching over you during the day, protecting you, guiding you, that is because your soul still carries the memory of meeting that presence in the night. The visits usually happen during your deepest sleep stages, typically between 3 and 5 in the morning. This is why spiritual practitioners in many traditions wake early to meditate. They intuitively know this is the most sacred time, when the veil between dimensions is thinnest, when the soul is closest to the divine. Now let me show you how. Edgar Cayce's spiritual map connects to what science has discovered about sleep. Researchers have identified distinct stages of sleep that correspond remarkably to the 3 dimensions Cayce described. Light sleep, when your body begins to relax and your brain waves slow down, matches the Borderland. REM sleep, when your brain becomes highly active and your eyes move rapidly, matches the Akashic plane where your soul accesses information and learns. Deep sleep, when your body undergoes the most restoration and your brain waves are at their slowest, matches the celestial realm where spiritual recharging occurs. Science and spirituality are describing the same journey from different perspectives. Studies on sleep and memory show that we consolidate our daily experiences during sleep. Studies on creativity show that people solve problems and generate new ideas after sleeping. Studies on emotional regulation show that sleep helps us process difficult feelings. What science calls consolidation and processing, Cayce understood as soul review and spiritual learning. What science sees as random neural activity, Cayce recognized as dimensional travel. The evidence supports his revelation. Something profound is happening during sleep, something beyond mere physical rest. People who have had near-death experiences often describe traveling through realms very similar to the ones Cayce mapped. They speak of a twilight zone where earthly concerns still matter, a place of infinite knowledge where they review their entire life, and a realm of pure light and love where they feel completely at home. These near-death journeys are temporary visits to the same dimensions your soul travels to every night. The only difference is that near-death experiencers remember their journey because they were closer to permanently leaving their physical body. But you are making the same journey. You just do not remember because you are meant to return fully to physical life. Why do we not remember these nightly soul journeys? Cayce explained that conscious memory of these experiences would overwhelm the physical mind. Imagine trying to hold the memory of infinite knowledge or unconditional divine love while also dealing with traffic, paying bills, and having difficult conversations. The intensity would make physical life impossible. So a veil of forgetfulness is placed over most of our soul journeys. But the veil is not complete. The experiences leave breadcrumbs, intuitions, gut feelings, creative inspiration, sudden knowing, symbolic dreams that hint at deeper truths. Your soul is always trying to communicate what it learned in night. You just have to learn its language. These nightly journeys serve a greater purpose in your spiritual evolution. Sleep is not downtime. Sleep is soul school. Every night, you are learning lessons that stretch across lifetimes. You are healing wounds that ordinary therapy cannot reach. You are growing in ways that transform you from the inside out. Edgar Cayce taught that spiritual evolution does not happen only during your waking hours through meditation, prayer, or good deeds. It happens primarily during sleep, when your soul is free to travel beyond the limitations of the physical body and learn directly from higher dimensions. This is why people who are chronically sleep-deprived often feel not just physically tired, but spiritually lost, emotionally fragile, disconnected from meaning and purpose. They have cut themselves off from their soul's nightly education, insomnia, and sleep disorders. From this spiritual perspective, are not just medical problems. They are signals of soul-level blockages. When you cannot sleep, your soul is struggling to make its journey. Something is holding it back. Unprocessed trauma, unresolved fear, spiritual disconnection, energetic interference. The modern epidemic of sleeplessness is actually a spiritual crisis. Millions of souls trying desperately to reach the dimensions they need for survival, but finding the path blocked. If you struggle with sleep, consider that your body is not the problem. Your soul is calling for help. It needs you to clear the obstacles so it can travel freely again. So how can you begin to remember your soul journeys? How can you bring back more than just fragments? Edgar Cayce offered specific guidance. Before you sleep, set a clear intention. Speak to your higher self. Say, I want to remember where I travel tonight. I want to bring back the wisdom my soul receives. Intention is the bridge between dimensions. It signals your readiness to know more. Keep a journal and pen right beside your bed. The moment you wake, before you move, before you think about the day ahead, write down whatever you remember. Even if it is just a feeling or a color or a single word. With practice, you will remember more. Create a sacred sleeping space. Clear your bedroom of clutter and negativity. Let it be a sanctuary where your soul feels safe to leave and return. Meditate before sleep, even if only for 5 minutes. Quiet your mind. Raise your vibration. This prepares your consciousness for clearer, dimensional travel. There are signs that you are successfully traveling and beginning to remember. Lucid dreams, where you know you are dreaming and can make choices within the dream, become more frequent. You might start waking at 3 or 4 in the morning, right when your soul is in the celestial realm. Because the energy is so powerful, it pulls your consciousness back briefly. Your dreams become more vivid and symbolic, filled with spiritual teachers, sacred places, profound messages. You have intuitive downloads, moments when you suddenly know something you have no logical reason to know. And most importantly, you feel more spiritually connected during your waking hours. You sense guidance. You trust the journey. You know deeply that you are not alone. You are not just sleeping. You are commuting between worlds. Every human being is a spiritual traveler, whether they realize it or not. From the infant taking her first nap to the elderly person sleeping peacefully in their final days, all souls are making this sacred journey. Sleep is your soul's way of staying connected to its true home while living temporarily in a physical body. It is the lifeline that keeps you spiritually alive while navigating the challenges of human existence. Edgar Cayce issued a warning that feels more urgent now than ever. Those who disrespect sleep, who deprive themselves of rest, who treat sleep as wasted time, are cutting off their spiritual lifeline. They are like astronauts severing their connection to the mothership while floating in space. Without the nightly return to spiritual dimensions, the soul begins to starve. The modern world tells you to sleep less, work more, push harder, stay busy. But your soul is suffering under this belief. The exhaustion so many people feel is not just physical tiredness. It is spiritual starvation. Honor your sleep. Protect it. Treat it as the sacred practice it truly is. Tonight, when you close your eyes, you will know the truth. You will know that you have 3 destinations waiting for you. The Borderland, where you will review and release. The Akashic plane, where you will learn and remember. The celestial realm, where you will heal and reunite with the divine. The journey begins the moment you drift away. Your soul already knows the way. It has been traveling this path every night of your life. But now finally, your conscious mind knows too. And that changes everything. Pay attention to what you experience. Notice how you feel when you wake. Share what you discover in the comments below. You are not alone on this journey. We are all travelers together, moving between worlds, learning, growing, returning home each night to remember who we truly are. Sleep well. Travel far. Your soul has sacred work to do.